What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of welcoming to the show one of my friends, confidant. He is a good brother to us all, good brother to the spiritual and metaphysical world. He's the one, the only Shaman Steve. Shaman Steve, what's going on?
Adam, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor and a privilege. I love what you guys do on the show, all your guests, and just you know how to interview people and you know how to bring the truth out. And I'm just honored, to be honest with you. I float around every day now. I finally found I found this level of peace and understanding that now my goal is to share it with others. So I've got my website there, shamansteve.net, where I post a lot of stuff. My whole thing is about upliftment now, Adam. Yesterday was my birthday. To
Happy
celebrate my birthday,
birthday!
I did 500 burpees.
Which we were kind of talking over the weekend about you doing. So, how was that?
The first 12 were as hard as the last 12. It's,
So,
you get in a zone. I had made up my mind to do that. One thing I learned from my guru, Swami Yatmai Chaitanya, because he's held to a higher standard as a guru. So if he says he's going to do something and he doesn't do it, he has to come back 7 more lives. Can you imagine that in the world we're living in right now? So do what you say and say what you do. And so when I put that out there, it seemed like a huge number because the most I'd ever done before was 300. And 2 years ago, if you'd asked me to do a burpee, I couldn't even do one. To be honest with you, I couldn't even hardly walk. So yesterday was fun. I was blessed with some fog in the morning, which made it a lot easier. But it's just a mental test is all it is. It really is. And I was amazed at how good I felt. And then I was at the dojo this morning at 4, and TC was killing me again today. Yeah. I did hit the wall in training today, though. I did a little bit. I only did like 8. I think I only did 8 rounds today.
only 8 rounds. Only
Yeah,
8 rounds.
it's truly incredible what when you get out of your own way, Adam. That's what's happened to me. I got out of my own way, and I let these wonderful people, they're all in these roles. If you just allow them to be in their roles, you can benefit so much. I mean, it's just crazy when you just open yourself up to the universe, the magic that can happen, because it's magic. It is.
No,
Because I'm 50. I'm freaking 50, man. You know what I
what?
mean? Yeah, I
What?
just turned 50. Yeah, I'm fit. What's up, my man? There's the man. There's the
Yes,
inspiration.
Voodoo
Um,
Maximus, who will be joining me later tonight for Voodoo in the Woods. Shout out to you, good sir. Uh, my cousin Aoife going, hey, what up, party people? What's going on, Aoife? Glad to have you in. Glad to have you, Voodoo Maximus, and I'll see you later tonight for Voodoo in the Woods. But my goodness, I mean, you live such a virtuous life, right? And especially you maintained your calm, during this kind of 20 months of, I mean, relative chaos, right? But I mean, I kind of want to know before you assume the mantle of Shaman Steve, like, what was your life before?
I was the sports guy, and I grew up playing baseball. Um, I played at San Diego State. Um, I didn't reach my full potential. I didn't work. I never got my body like this when I was playing. I never understood. I never understood that aspect of it. So I kind of missed an opportunity, which has kind of weighed on me over the years. Which, like a lot of times, if we've done that, it tends to hold us back. What I've learned through this process is to let go of all of that. But I'll be honest. I was at San Diego State, the keg drinker. I could put away beers easily, extended period of time. And continued that honestly with the meditation. I figured I thought I could do both. I could do both, right? Because when I met my guru, I was 250 pounds. Boombas, I could drink boombas, and that's what I mean. I was, American idiot, I guess you would say. Green Day. And then I met my guru in 2008, and it was a shock to the system. And then I started implementing what he taught me because it's interesting with the physical work. When we work out, you're going to see your body change, but with energy work, you're not going to see change. You're not going to see it physically, literally. You feel it more. And some people can get distracted because you don't see it with your eyes. You have to feel it more. So they can get distracted on that. For me, when they implemented the stuff that they did, for me, I guess you could consider me a conspiracy theorist. That's what they would call me. I've been paying attention to this stuff for years. What it was for me was it made me refocus on my temple, to understand that I had neglected my body. It was the exact thing that I needed to get focused. It was the fire that my steel needed in a sick way. A lot of times, if you can take, and that's what I've learned too from the adverse, like Pius and TC, like if you can take that adversity and transmute it, you're never going to deal with that again, number one. And number two, you're so much stronger from that. And that is the only game here. And then to share that once you reach that. So I wasn't always virtuous, and I wouldn't even call myself virtuous. I'm trying to make up for stuff that I may not have been so nice in this life and past lives, and now I am that guy. I'm the guy that I never wanted to be now, Adam. That's the irony of this whole thing. Right?
Wow. But that's a bit of soul searching, right? That you did.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Because I mean, by I guess earthly standards, right? Especially you growing up a sports guy and going to college for the sport. I mean, when you get to that echelon, right? Like how many little leaguers become junior high and high school, then to play at a collegiate level, and then maybe ascend to double A, triple A, what have you, and then the majors, right? So theoretically speaking, you had attained a lot of the worldly kind of echelons, right? But I guess your inner peace and core were kind of disrupted.
I was just caught up in the way I view it. Spiritual consciousness swims upstream, and material consciousness swims downstream. It's easy to swim downstream, and the further you go downstream, the more lost you get. The salmon swim upstream to spawn. That's where you build your fortitude and strength, swimming against the current. That's kind of what I think. All of those, I guess you could say, lessons. I would rather call them lessons than I would have called them failures in the past, but they're lessons I've learned from them. They just inspire improvement. When we can get out of the victim mindset and say, what can we learn here? That changes everything. That is the one question. If people would ask that, it would change everything, because you realize we're always in school. Life is school. And if you can take that approach, it just makes things so much better for everybody involved, literally. So that's just like I said, and it's a lot of soul searching, Adam. And it's not like the funny here. Let me tell you this. The funniest part about this is when you embark on the spiritual path, you think I thought it was soft. You know what I mean? I think, that's whatever. The spiritual path is what made me into the man that I am today. The strength and the fortitude, this body that I've chiseled, is because of the spiritual path. So there's so many ironies here in this world that we have to sort through. Our intuition always knows the truth, and when we ignore the truth, then we're in chaos. And when we embrace the truth, then you're free. That's just kind of, and the truth may not be pretty, but it's still the truth, and that's and you can take comfort in that. You know what I mean?
No, 100%, and that's kind of it too. Like for me, right? I'll put myself out there. Like this is the life that my mom wanted for me, because like your grandfather in Fiji, he was the first Fijian-born broadcaster trained by the BBC during World War II and what have you. And she wanted me to assume the mantle because he did everything that he did in Fiji, but there was nothing to show for it here in the States, right? On Big Island. So, my mom was kind of haunted by that, but in a way to kind of get close to her father, she kind of raised me to be broadcaster guy, right? And we watched the WKRP in Cincinnati's and the Murphy Browns and the news radio and like all of those, radio, TV type broadcasting thing, and I was just like, there was a point in 2003 where I was going from Inglewood all the way to Huntington Beach for a radio school, right? 4 hours each way on the bus. Then we had the bus strike happen, so I was charged 20 G's for the
Unreal.
right. And I at that point I was just like, this is a a dead vestige. I'm gonna throw it down. I don't want any part of it. And I thought my radio career was done. And then I would say about 5 years ago, get into jujitsu, and had a couple people in my gym that were fighting. Heinrich Wassmer,
Right.
later Daniel Rodriguez, who I befriended. And look at me now. This is the way that I've defined myself. My family defines me. My kids define me. A legacy, much like my grandfather did back in Fiji. But it's something that I ran away from for, 30 some odd years.
Yeah. It's yeah. Sometimes we gotta go all the way around the world to realize we were home all the whole time. Right.
Yeah.
Paulo Coelho, I believe that book. I can't remember the name of it. Sometimes, that's part of the movie too. I mean, nobody wants to watch a movie that just has the same boring stuff all the time. You want to see challenges. You want to see people overcome. And it's just like I said, when you embrace it and start to understand that challenges are part of this, and you start to live. My guru always says, life is liberty, independence, and freedom for eternity. And it took 49 years for me to figure that out. And so at 50, I'm reborn, literally, because I feel 12. The training it has been incredible because I was inspired, like we've talked before. I wanted to do this before. I thought, you see these guys doing this, and it's so exciting and so invigorating. Oh, I can do that. And then you go to train, and you're in the bathroom 20 minutes later throwing up, going, oh, shit, what did I just get myself into?
Mm-hmm.
I'm nowhere near where I'm like, oh my, it's a slap in the face, like, wow. And so then my back got hurt later doing the hikes. And again, that was part of sometimes we hold everything we hold everything in our waist. We hold our emotions there. That's why we have a lot of back pain. Once you can finally just let go, realize it's going to be okay. For me, it was surrender. It was vivid. I just finally said, okay, I'm done. My ego, I'm done. I know I can't control it. I know I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So you take over and I'll just be the co-pilot. And ever since then, it's been really freaking interesting.
I fucking
Really
love
interesting.
it.
I live more in the divine sometimes than the real world. I mean, I have birds give me feathers, which are signs from angels, like different species too. I'll ask for feathers and then they'll give me one. It's just crazy. And people will look at that. Some will say, oh, that's amazing. And others in the same context will say that's completely insane. And both would be right, to be honest with you. Because there are two worlds. There's an energetic world that nobody sees. And then there's the alleged real reality. But our eyes see 0.1% of the energy around us. So what's real, the 1 or the 999? So it's an interesting way to think about it.
No, I absolutely love it, and I love this encouraging this conversation because, like, in recent years, there have been, kind of ideologies that we're living in, maybe a simulation or alternate realities, right? There's different planes. So theoretically speaking, and I'm a fan of, Back to the Future, right?
Me too. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we're existing in the same deal, just different planes.
Yes.
It all exists.
Different frequencies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I want to go
mind
back.
blowing.
Oh, good.
It's mind blowing. Yeah.
Right.
But then sometimes they can't give you too much of that because then you get so distracted by that you don't want to be in the real world and do the work that we have to do. And that's the balance. And the way I view it now is we really live we have to walk a tightrope here in this duality. You have day and night, good and evil, left and right.
Yeah.
Everything is two here.
Right.
And that's just so you have a comparison. And we just, at this point in time, like people we can't stay on the fence anymore. You have to pick your choice. Are you going to be righteous or are we going to continue to ignore our truth? Ignorance is just ignoring who we really are. And we can make up as many excuses that we want because the system is so corrupt. But it's all about integrity for me. And it's all about living. Like you say you're going to do it, you do it. You just do it. And when you live like that, it creates this power. and you just surround yourself with the same like-minded people, and who knows what you can build. I mean, that's the creative side is the spice of life here on this planet. Whatever you do to create, regardless of what it is, that is the spice of life. Everything else is just filler, to be honest with you,
So
in my opinion.
you're in tune. You're absolutely in tune. Which I want to go back a little bit because
Sure.
obviously, 2008 was a pivotal year for you, right? In basically seeking and being in the embrace of your guru, right? But like, what was the journey leading up to that? Because did you know that you needed a guru? Was there a void in your life? Like, what was that? Because obviously, over the last, almost 2 years, we've all kind of had to face a lot of uncertainty, doubt, our own negative or positive
Yeah.
selves, right? So, where were you prior to 2008 and leading up to meeting your guru?
Yeah, again, I was in the system. I was working and didn't like my corporate job, so I would drown myself in intoxicants to
Hmm.
deal with that because it's a shitty game. Let's be honest. There are great lessons, but yeah, they squeeze us for as much as they can squeeze us for. So you're just and it's stacked against us. So you're trying to survive. You're also making moves. I'm making moves, but at that point, I didn't have the mentality because I hadn't trained my mind. So yeah, you'd get on good runs, but you could never keep it. Um, that's where people fail is they don't train the three facets. It's mind, body, and spirit. So when I met him, what it was for me, like literally, Adam, it was like putting my hands into a socket. It was that like like defibrillator.
Yeah.
Like seriously, and it was so I could never ignore that again. Like as I go through this path, and there's really they call them dark nights of the soul, dark nights where you're like freaking done. You're done with all of it. You're done. Like, what's the point with the path? Like this is bullshit. We all have our ups
Yeah.
and downs. And so I'm talking to the altar like this, but then the next day, that morning, you get up and you breathe and you meditate and you just keep going because that is the only truth. Like that is the most peace that I have in the day. Um, and so there's something there. So you just close your eyes and you follow your intuition. That's how it is now. I follow my intuition. My intuition tells me what to do, tells me to calm down. It's going to be all right. Um, and I just let it play out now. I used to want to force the situation.
Right.
And it's almost like the sports when you get into the zone, but you get into the zone all the time with life. Just like you just know it's going to work out and you just let it work out the way the masters that are in control can work it out. And you just make sure your character, doesn't F up basically. That's what I
Yeah.
watch myself and try to make sure. Oh, no, Steve, don't do that. No, 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 no. Turn him right. It's like a video game for me. um, and my other joke is you have to go full crazy. You can't just dip your toe in the water. You have to embrace it because then life becomes fun. And then it's and you can spark so many people with pure joy. It's just joy. It's yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't trade any of it because I had to release all of it. You have to
Yeah.
release all of it to free yourself. Um, Eagle song. Sometimes we live our whole life in chains, never knowing we have the key. That was me for a long time, and that's a lot of people. And there are techniques, guys. There are, and if you pursue them long enough with enough passion, you will make everything so much better. It's just no doubt, no doubt. Um, you just have to invest in yourself.
No, absolutely. Which, in terms of your quest for, the clarity of your spiritual, mental self, like, were you, or you're in a religious situation where you, like, raise a particular, belief set or what have you?
Yeah, I
Like,
was in I did the Catholic Church, and I didn't like any of that because it's all contrived. You're praying to this, this God in the sky, I guess, for lack of a better word. When it's really it's an energy, and if you're connected to it, and if you allow that connection to maintain itself, it becomes stronger over time. Um, the ego detaches us from God, so then we think we can do it on our own. And God is just that essence. God, my guru would call it generation, order, and destruction. That's what God is: creation, maintenance, and then you have destruction, and then you repeat. Um, it's an essence. It flows through you, and when you allow it, it's like I said, you're in tune. The puzzle pieces all fit magically. When you don't, when you're not, then that's when chaos happens. We think we can control the situation. Um, when we're going to manipulate the situation to make us comfortable, what I finally found is I can just be comfortable wherever, and I'll just deal with it, and leave the rest to where it may be. It's very liberating, Adam.
Which is, I mean, your proof. The proof is in the pudding with you, right? You're not about just talking, and that's what some people will do, and that's good enough for them, right? Speaking
Yeah.
life into people, but
Yeah.
not maybe showing the action, right? Going to the doctor's office, doctor telling you, "Hey, lose weight, what have you, get on this medication or
Yeah.
whatever," but then the doctor might not be in the best of health, when you walk out and
Mhm.
whatever, taking a break, smoking a cigarette
Yep.
and what have you, and have a lanyard of whatever pill that they're trying to push on you,
That's
right?
exactly right. I remember a story. Um, this was again, when pay attention in class, you learn lessons. Pay attention. Energy is currency. What you pay attention to is the experience you buy. So remember that. And so I remember, because I'm going to call this my former profession. I've been an engineer my whole life, but now I'm full shaman. I'm all in on shaman. Um, that's just where my soul is invigorated. I can't do that grind anymore. I can't force myself to do it anymore. So I won't do it. Um, but I remember having a conversation with two government workers,
Mm.
and this was when my back pain was like really bad. And both of them, oh, you gotta get surgery, you gotta fix that, you gotta get surgery. And immediately then I'm like, oh fuck, excuse my language,
No, fuck yes, bring it.
I'm healing myself, and that was just one seed. That seed was planted. Um, yeah, I healed. The only time I needed anything, if inflammation was so bad, I forget the drug it was. It reduced the muscle inflammation, so I could finally get some relief.
Right.
And then when I started the training, it hurt like hell. I mean, that's what people don't realize. You're going to have to fight through pain. I tried to rest. Rest is not going to work. And we sit so much that then what happens is our glutes get inactivated. So your lower back and your hamstrings are doing all the work. And so that was me. And now I had to deal with that. So, okay, workouts hurt, but you still, like, my talk to God was, listen, I'm doing this. So either kill me or heal me, because both are liberation. And so he decided, okay, well, you put enough work in, we'll keep you around a little bit longer. And then when I got through those pains, like I literally am pain free. I move better than I did when I was 20. It's I can't freaking believe it. I really can't. I can't. It really is a miracle, Adam. It's a miracle. Because I'll tell you a story. 2 years ago, I was driving. My wife was driving us down. We were going to the beach, and I usually drive, but my back pain was so. I'm like, oh, I'll just go and sit in the passenger seat. I couldn't do that. It hurt too bad. I had to turn around. And so at that moment, I was like, oh shoot. And that was the darkest moment. I just think I'm done. I thought I was done physically. Thought I was done. And so then you deal
Wow.
with that. You deal with that. And then you come back from that too. It was like, yeah, I was dead on the table, and then I came back, still came back. So yeah, and that is my mission, to show people like you can do this. I'm fit, you can do this. And you can. I have a program because the program that I created, the program that was created, because I didn't create it. I would see videos on YouTube, like Iron Wolf is knocking out burpees, right? And so, I want to do that one. Or, the Burpee King, or Wes Watson's calling me, I'm hearing him saying, you know, get your work in, accountability, non-negotiable, stuff like that. His voice in my head really fired me up, because I said, okay, I need to man up. That was it. And then tied everything together, and now I want to share it. That's all it is. I want to share it because people need it. They need it, and I'm here to teach it. And I'm not gonna. And I want to gift it, because I'm tired of this. How much can we squeeze from everybody? To live in this freaking mansion, because that's all I worked on was. I mean, I've done Kylie Jenner's house. I'm working on
Wow.
Leonardo DiCaprio's house right now. I can give you his address. You can go pop over and say what's up to Leo on his private beach. But those people are the most. Those jobs are the most not fun. because there's so many people involved trying to extract
Mm-hmm.
and get their piece. It's hellacious. So, and I had to learn that lesson though, because in the beginning of my business, that's, you know, you want those jobs. Then you realize, no, I don't want those jobs. I want jobs. I want jobs that have a creative flow, that are adding value, and that are enjoyable. Um, I just flipped my perspective. I just stopped because everybody wants to pull you. There's crabs in the bucket. They want to pull you into their game to make themselves feel comfortable. And it's not easy to shine on your own, but when you do shine, the darkness goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, that's just all it is. I visualize myself as the sun as I walk around. I mean, I've gone, I'm full out there because this is my whole mission now. This is what all of this chaos has made me realize that's what I'm here to do. And then, you know, whoever wants to come with me, we'll figure all that out as we go. Um, but that's the beauty of life, you know.
Which, I mean, you're going through, regular life, right? The, engineering, having a family, wife, kids, and the whole deal, right? So
Yeah.
as you're going through this spiritual kind of journey, right? What was the reaction of your friends and family in and around you? Were they pretty open and receptive? Were they, some people, sometimes everything is not a lifelong deal. Sometimes people are just transient in your life. They're meant to be in your life for that moment. And then, you kind of two ships passing in the night. So with the world around you and your community around you, how do you, and currently, how are they responding to all of this? Because you've changed your over the last what since 2008,
So 13 years. It's been
13
13
years,
years.
right?
And a complete metamorphosis, like literally.
And
Um,
the last 20, your physical, has completely changed as well. So, what
and
is
that's
the
it too. And it was, yeah, you tie them. You know, everybody's very supportive. Um, you're always going to have people that are going to try to bring you down if you don't have the confidence in what you're doing. So you're going to be tested. And when people challenge you, you just have to be confident in yourself to not react. And when you can respond, then that lesson's learned and you don't deal with that anymore. I'll explain this because I used to do a lot of broadcasts to practice on Periscope,
yeah,
and that was a real joy. But in the beginning, I remember early, um, the trolls would be out and they'd look for certain scopes. And then I remember it was I was singing bhajans, right? And I come out and I was so fired up because I had like 10 people in there, right? Like, because there's never anybody in the room. But it was 10, they were all talking smack, right? But by
yeah,
the end of that conversation, I flipped them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was, and when you're challenged and you can just be able to handle it calmly and laugh, you can flip. That's all. You don't have to react. Gasoline and fire and it's just, it explodes. But if you can bring water to the situation, um, it just enables you to be the eye of the storm. That's the phrase that I always like to use, be the eye of the storm. And I just try to maintain that. And yeah, it's not easy for, I'm sure it's not easy for the family, but they bought in. Like when I started working out, they were all in. Because it stems, I think one thing that's very much lacking in our society that they like to demonize quite a bit, they being the system, is
yeah,
this toxic masculinity. But you need men. Men need to be men. Men, what masculine energy is will, and what feminine energy is creative. That's what it is. So if you can join the will with the creative, then you can create magic. When you separate them, then you're lost. That's why you have males and females. If you can merge both of these energies in yourself, this is what happens. It's just that simple. Um, you need the feminine creative energy. That's the only way. The male will is what makes it happen, in my opinion. And that's how I did it. That's just how I did it. And again, once you're comfortable in your own skin, you don't care what other people think. To be honest with you, because they're just not worth. They're just not ready to receive the message. I'll put it like that. And you know it right away. You can see it in the eyes. You know who's genuine. It's just easy when you pay attention. Like I said about energy, when you pay attention, and what you pay attention to is critical. It's easy to get distracted in certain situations, but let's just stay focused on us and how we handle ourselves. If we do that, man, this world changes overnight, immediately.
And at the very least, your perception, right? Because
Yes.
that's one thing that I've realized, right? Because I used to play everything one side or the other, right? Pretty
Yeah.
divisive, right? And that's
Yeah.
that's also kind of how I was raised, right?
Yeah.
Where you got to, like, to an extent of what you were saying about you got to pick a side. Well, for me, it's kind of been about straddling the middle, because you got to see this side, and like you were saying about the reaction, and people might not be in tune of what you're doing or saying or acting right now, and it could lead to some sort of discourse within you, within them, within your community. It's a disharmonious scenario, right? So with that all being said, like, one thing that I've tried to do is, especially in a time where, vax, no vax, politics, no politics, this side, that side, religion, no religion, like, blah, 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 blah. This
Right.
life matters, this life doesn't matter,
Yes.
blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
And the villainization of all of those
Endless.
things,
Yes.
and you kind of have to, that adage about, you don't know a person until you walk a while in their shoes, right? So even if I might disagree with a particular person, ideology, or what have you, I don't have the set of circumstances to arrive at the same conclusion in which they did at this point. So this, and vice versa. So we can agree to disagree. We
Yes.
can respectfully disagree. That's one thing. With, I mean, more ways to connect with each other than any other time in human history, right?
Absolutely.
And with the people en masse, right? And we forgot that concept, right? It's almost like a clone. If you think about, you know, smoke signal to, telegram to Pony Express to radio, a newspaper, radio, TV, internet, what have you, right? Well, this what we're doing now is almost a clone of something that was done 50 years
Yeah.
before, if you acknowledge it, right? But what happens with faxes and copies? You usually lose a little bit of the context of the purity when you
Yes.
get to the next deal. And for whatever reason, we haven't gotten past that trope. So with that all being said, that ability, with all the ways that we can connect to each other and everything, there's still people that are battling depression, low self-esteem, feeling like they have to pick one side or the other, and it dissuades us, really.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. What you said is so powerful. Is can we agree to disagree? We can't have a discourse anymore in America, and that's a problem, because that stifles any innovation. We have to be able to agree to disagree. I want to hear other people's sides. I may not agree, but I'll listen.
Right.
Um, and we've lost that, unfortunately. Hopefully, we can regain that at some point, but that is a problem. We should be able to freely talk to each other, without one side dictating the whole scenario for how everybody else is supposed to live. I disagree with that. You allow people to be who they're going to be, um, and their karma will deal with themselves. To be honest with you, we all have that. One thing I would like to mention is called the law of cause and effect that most people do
Yes.
realize is that what you put out is coming back to you. Um, and so when you realize that, you'll start to change your ways a little bit, because as you continually put out vitriol, the universe will allow you to see what you've put out and face it for yourself. Once you understand that, then you realize I'm tired of that. I don't want to deal with it. I want to be, it's hard enough. They make it hard enough, between everything, rules and mandates and laws and taxes and inflation, which is the biggest tax that they don't even talk about. And if we want to get into the corrupt Federal Reserve, and we can go down a host of subjects, how corrupt the system is. It's all being exposed, and I think the system was necessary. It gives chances for people to fill out these fantasies, both good and bad. We get to live out both here. This is the dream world. I view the Earth as like as Jumanji. It is Jumanji. We are avatars, like literally.
Yes.
We're living that. Um, we're living that. We're living. And so, uh, again, just have an open mind. A lot of times people don't want to have the open mind because of what other people may think about that. Um, And that just stems from, again, self-esteem, like you said. As you work on yourself and your energy, then you become strong. That's all. Just know that you're divine. All of you are divine. We're all divine. And when you understand that and really truly acknowledge that, then you respect that. And what that means is then you treat that accordingly. Um, I mean, everybody's beautiful. You just have to see your beauty. Find your beauty. You're all beautiful. Like, seriously. Um, and I just love when I see the shine, when people tap into their shine, because I can see it now. Like, I start to see colors now. And then I have to blink, like, wait a minute. Did I just, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I got to talk myself out of that. That's a little bit too much for me. But then I'm like, no, go, see what this means, and share that. Um, I mean, I'll tell you another story today. I saw this
Yes.
lady on the corner, and we live in America, and everybody can say whatever they want about the government, but this is the land of the free, and everybody comes here for the opportunity.
Right.
And she had a flag on the corner, and she felt uncomfortable, but that was her. She had to do that. That's her way of standing up. I gave her 2 honks. I saw this smile, and I felt the energy. Let's encourage people rather than beat each other down. I mean, really, we're the same family. We're a soul family. People just, we're just having different experiences in different bodies, in different lineages, because we're living a movie. We're living God's movie. That's what we're living, and it's constantly evolving.
No, and that's absolutely true, right? Because unfortunately, societal methodologies, right? Go to work, go to this,
Yeah.
like we're free in theory, right?
Yeah.
But work 40 plus hours a week and go and try to buy a house.
You good luck, and then
Yeah.
pay taxes too, and then feed your family, and then pay $5 a gallon for gas. Good luck,
Hmm.
because you have a certain class that thinks we're stupid, and they keep stealing from us. I mean, the corporations use the politicians to steal from us,
Yeah.
and that time is running very short, I believe. The astrology right now is the same as 1776. Um, so and all the light is shining on the darkness. They cannot hide what they've been doing under wraps for a long time. So eventually um, it's never on our time. Sometimes I get impatient with that process,
Right.
but I have to, it's not on my time. It's on the creator's time. And so then I just bring myself down back. Okay, what are my responsibilities today? And I get them done. Um, and like I said, my main responsibility is the only thing that I have to do is meditate and breathe at least once a day, and at least an hour, to be honest with you. And but when I started, I couldn't sit Indian style for 30 seconds, Adam. I couldn't. It was too
Uh,
hard. I mean, all of this that you do, but listen, how was the Grand Canyon created? Man, you just keep doing it. You just keep doing it. You have to see the value in doing it. You have to get inspired to do it. You'll get inspired, but then can you maintain that? Because there's going to be a rut where you're like, let's get the new shiny object. And I
yes.
will explain it like this. One of the mentors in my life, Lama Norbu, and he's a gentleman that crossed the Himalaya mountains, okay, at 11 years old to join a Buddhist monastery, okay, like crazy. Um, and he just always has sage advice, and he just says, just be in the moment, just be in the moment, um, let it happen the way it's supposed to happen, and it's freedom. It's freedom. You just have to. Um, there's plenty of guides out there if we're willing to subdue our ego enough to learn and not judge. I'll tell you this about judgment. I met a great gentleman on an amazing trip to Utah, Guru Stu. And after our meeting, I went to his website because I'm like, he's got something good for me. And all of it was good, but one part particularly stood out. It was about judgment. And he said, judgment is the weight of a million stars collapsing. So when
Wow.
anytime we start and we can tend to do that with, oh, why are you doing that? Why? And so just remember that and try to catch yourself and minimize that, because think about the weight of that. Because there's so many different perspectives. We all don't have the right way. Let's just give people enough leeway to learn from their mistakes, I guess. Because I've made plenty of them, and I'm still here, and I'm going to make plenty more. because that's the human experience. But if we can learn from that, um, find good people to surround yourself with, uplift each other, learn from a variety of different people, um, and yeah, there's joy, man. There's joy. Like, I mean, it's joy. To me, it's joy now because it wasn't always joy. So I'm just, honestly, Adam, I'm grateful because I didn't always have this joy. I had a lot of I was pissed. The system sucked. And then I'm doing the system thinking, um, it changes when you change. I'll just leave it at that. It changes when you change.
No, 100%, 100%. I feel like we got to do a part two. So
I'm down all the time. Whatever. I just, like I said, I'm just drawn to your energy. Like Master Pius, I'd love to tell that story too.
Yes.
Because he was, he helped me so much become the man that I am here today. His will to become a professional fighter in his 40s, fight some of the baddest men in LA. I was just honored to be on that run. But I was taking my son to the dojo because I wanted him to learn some self-defense stuff. And then I'm walking toward the office and I see the poster, U of MMA. And I do a second glance and I look in the room and it's Pius. And his poster is Pius. And he just smiled. And then it was I forget when it was, but he had just started hiking. And he liked to do the fire rises. You know how he does that, fire rises. And I saw that and I wanted to do the hike. And I remember vividly the first hike was O'Melveny. He snapped this picture of me and I was just gassed, right? But hooked. And so that's the one thing I want to suggest is when you see that inspiration, don't be afraid to go after it. Yeah, it's going to be painful and you're going to be uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable because I used to like to do one hike. I know this route and I'm going to do this route every time. But if you know Pius, that's not the case. It's right. This hike and then we're going to do this hike and then we're going to do this hike. And it's all new. And that was beautiful for me because I needed to get outside my comfort zone. It just kept pushing me outside my comfort zone. That comfort zone is a death sentence. The more you push yourself outside that comfort zone, you, again, tap into your divine power. That's the way I will put it. And so I honor that. I mean, that friendship and that inspiration is, I call him and TC, they're gatekeepers. That's who they are. They hold down a lot of people. And it's a beautiful, now I fully understand. That's the beauty because I pay attention. Like, just pay attention. You'll see so much magic. You'll blow yourself away.
Damn. Man. Got goosebumps. Yeah. But folks can find you at shamansteve.net for more metaphysical, spiritual transformation. Yes?
Yes, and I'm also doing, I have a mini channel on YouTube. I still have some, I have Ryan Lilly's fight on there when he did the head kick.
Yes.
So that was great. I almost got 1,000 views on that. It's everything because for me, you know what's funny, Adam, and I'll leave you with this, is I had to find the martial arts to improve my meditation. And Pius had to find the meditation to improve his martial arts. And that's the symbiosis of life. And I'm forever grateful for all of that. And I just, like I said, now I just want to share techniques to help people. If you're looking for help, I can show you just a path to walk. That's all it is. It's just a path to walk.
Oh, man, I love it. I will link the shamansteve.net in the bio. So for anybody wanting that thirst to be quenched, we're going to do that. We're going to plug you in just like your guru did for you. And the Shaman Steve, thank you. We definitely do a part 2 in this. We're going to continue this conversation longer. So stay tuned, folks. But Shaman Steve, thank you for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us here at According to Woods. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I mean, Shaman Steve, you're subscribed, right?
Absolutely. I love Adam. Come on, man.
Mario Masaki without the let him die. I appreciate you, but
thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. Like, again, this ain't over. We're gonna do part 2, 100%, and we might do like 3, 4. This might be an episodic deal. So I love it. I love it. So again, thank you for joining us. Subscribe to the podcast if you don't believe me, Shaman Steve, and I don't know why you wouldn't. Well, here's Zeta Zag to help convince you.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According